Hello everybody, this is Matmart, and today I'll be starting off my creator review series with a well-known Geometry Dash player and creator, Krmal. As this is the first episode, I will briefly explain the concept of this series. In this series, I might focus on a level or maybe a series of levels, or in this case, a creator. In most cases, I will review every single level that a creator has gotten a rate with, using 4 categories. Gameplay, mostly based on how fun your level is to play. This category is worth 10 points. Then there is my sync score based on how well your level synchronizes to the background music of the level. This category is worth 10 points. There's also the originality score based on how original your level is for its time. This is worth 5 points. I've saved the most complicated category for last. Unlike gameplay, sync, and originality, which are universal, decoration in Geometry Dash has been added to every update. For example, compare this modern featured level with this level from 1.9, Revolution. Obviously the newer featured level looks better, but why would I consider this level to be a 7 or an 8 while Revolution is an obvious 10? Well, as this level was released in 2020, it competes with levels like these. As it was innovative and used new effects that looked good proportional to the decoration available in the 1.9 update, Revolution gets a higher score in decoration than the vast majority of new featured levels today solely because of how good it was for its time. This category is also worth 10 points. At the end, all of the scores that the levels received would be averaged and create my personal score for the creator. Now that you get what this series is all about, let's get to the subject of this video. At first he was known as Crazy Man 50, and ever since early 2.0 he's been releasing levels that tend to get extremely popular, usually because of how unique they are. As of the making of this video, his current most recent level is the April Fool's troll level, Low Death. So, are his levels deserving of their popularity? Well, let's cut the introduction and get to reviewing the first level. Ah yes, his first level, Alive. Even though it's on Krmal's account, the story behind this level goes that a creator called Sonic gave this level to Krmal. Why, you ask? So that Krmal could get the achievement for a rated level. Krmal had been trying to create levels since 1.9, and finally this level was able to get rated in early 2.0. It's the earliest level posted on his account. Overall, there's not much to say about this level. Bland decoration, bland gameplay. It's not too original. But Krmal's pretty unique. I wonder what his part is. The second one is this. Is there really anything to say about this level? I doubt anyone has ever had fun here. It's got bad gameplay because you can't see any of it. I know some people consider memory levels to be fun, but this is just too far. The sync matches up with Deadlocked, so I guess that's a somewhat high score. There's literally 0 decoration, so I have the excuse to give this a 0. In terms of originality though, this sort of concept has existed since the 1.6 era, and Krmal even mimicked this with his second and third level. So the originality score won't reflect on this level very well. Finally, a real Krmal level. This level is mostly built by Krmal with a little assistance from a creator called Word. It's called Rearmed, and this level is a rebirth of a deleted 1.9 Krmal level called Unarmed. For the most part, the decoration is passable. It's nothing too special, really. The gameplay is somewhat fun, but then it gets to this duel part. It's definitely unique, but I hate it. The level syncs pretty well throughout with lyrics on the screen, timings that sync, and other effects. Everything stays pretty normal until this drop. Well, look at this. This wave part is perfect. By far the best part of the level. The gameplay is geniusly telegraphed. It syncs up very well. The memory at the end is easy and fun, and the decoration is a 10 out of 10 for its time throughout. This part carries most of the level's ratings, and it starts an interesting trend that you'll start seeing in Krmal's levels in the future. The fourth rated Krmal level is a level called Lit Fuse. The start of the level is the worst in every way. There is barely any design, and the gameplay is at its most hardest and annoying. Apart from that, the sync is very good with background pulses and the block design and certain orb timing syncing to the song. This is the most simple part. What's yet to come gets more interesting. Whoa, that's trippy. Well, I like the middle part of the level, which has this good effect that's pretty good looking for the time. The gameplay throughout the entire ship part is very repetitive, and that's the only problem. You have to pay attention to notice the sync. The ship gets lower and higher depending on the pitch of the song. This part goes on for a while. Until it finally transforms into this interesting duel with an even more trippy effect than the other parts. This part is mostly controlled spam, but it's pretty fun and the portals sync up to the song. And finally, just like Rearmed, the final part is the most decorated. You could tell Krmal put a lot of effort into this part. The gameplay is repetitive but fast paced, and at least the level is keeping consistent with its weird style of repetitive gameplay. Finally, the star effect is very impressive for the time. This part syncs pretty well and it's amazing. Overall, it's a pretty well made early 2.0 level. Oh, this level. Well, it had to come eventually. Don't be too surprised at the score, I mean just look at the gameplay. Apparently this was an extended challenge level, however, I think the Geometry Dash community is better without this being an extended challenge level. Aside from the atrocious gameplay, the decoration is 1.0 based, but it's not even the good type of 1.0 based. In terms of sync, this is one of those levels that literally does the bare minimum to sync up with the background song. But since the gameplay sequences are so AIDS, I guess it does give it a hint of originality in that department. This is the only part of the level that I can beat. It's literally just the last Stereo Madness ship with a mini-wave tacked on it. I guess when I beat this level, you could say I have conical optimism. What, the crowd's not laughing at my joke? What do you guys have? Conical depression?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Anyways, let's go to the next level. This level is quite the backstory, and nothing in this level was built by Krmal, so here's a quick explanation as to why that is. Phobos was a collaboration on a GD Facebook page where many players got together to make one of the big extreme demons of the future. They got some high profile members, but it was still missing a verifier. Finally, one of the members of the collab, Tigrisek, stepped in and verified it and posted it on his account. So, why do I call it a Krmal level? Well, a creator called Lugia would tell RobTop that Phobos was hacked. Soon enough, Tigrisek made it a free demon, which then got it unrated. He would then post a slightly nerfed version and then delete it after Lugia told RobTop a second time that it was hacked. Finally, Krmal would step in to verify the nearly dead extreme demon, and it was his hardest level yet. This level challenged Bloodbath to the #1 spot, but to most Bloodbath would hold out. Anyways, let's get to reviewing it. This level has a reputation for having a lot of inconsistent, frustrating gameplay. If I were to say my favorite parts, it would probably be Skitten's part, Blade's part, and Jobit's part. The level entirely has very passable sync and there's nothing too special about it. What's really interesting though is the decoration. Around 80% of the level was made in 1.9, so it was pretty outdated when the level was released in the middle of 2.0. But I'll be lax. The 1.9 parts look pretty good for the time, with my favorites being Jobet, Dream Eater, Skitten, Cubson, Andromeda, and weirdly enough, Require's part. The same can't be said for Kobaz, Tigrisek, and Icarar's part. The last 1.9 part transitions into an early 2.0 part which looks awful and has bad colors. The rest of the early 2.0 parts look alright. Overall, aspects of this level like the song, level design, and certain decoration elements make it original enough for it to score a few points. Okay, back to a real Krmal level. So, starting with the gameplay, it's pretty bad. It's well known for being inconsistent. This first icon part in its entirety is not fun with spam parts and timings, but it's pretty unique with gimmicks like these orb chains. The next ball part just consists of odd timings, which then transitions into this UFO, which also has annoying timings, and a little taste of spam. I wonder what the next part is. Oh, even more spam. Yes, it's the infamous wave part. I don't think it's a coincidence that Riot took a break due to hand pain shortly after beating this level. Anyways, then we have a pretty playable ship part that's fun once you get the hang of it, and then the last section of the level is truly where the gameplay is at its worst. This robot part is inconsistent and you can't really see what kills you. There's nothing very fun about it. The last 10% of the level is dedicated solely to trolling you on the 98% spike.
Yeah.
No! 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 Why? So close! No! No!
On the other hand of the gameplay score, the sync score is phenomenal. It's the first maximum score I'll be giving. I may not like the gameplay, but it syncs up extremely well. Here, have a listen. You might also notice things like the background pulsing to the song. So, I guess next I should talk about decoration. While at this point the red and black theme had already been overdone, the Atsol trilogy along with the Hell Factory and the upcoming Yatagarasu had made people sick of red and black levels. However, you may notice these are all Hell themed levels. Heartbeat clearly takes inspiration from the heart organ and it has a very consistent theme looking good for its time. A great part of decoration is the amount of pulsers on screen, which had a nice touch while getting berated by the AIDS gameplay. Moving to originality, obviously this song is a weird one, and there hasn't been a rated level using it before or since Krmal's level. With the song comes the gameplay, which while not being fun at times is clearly extremely original, while since the decoration is based off of heart and veins with many uniquely decorated parts, this level will also get a maximum score in originality. Don't rate this level, huh? After this review, you might be able to see why Robtop should have followed this wish. There's not a single fun part of this level. If it's not jumping over spikes, it's some boring gameplay disguised by invisible portals. Whatever, at least this level ends with a nice auto wave part to reward going through this. Okay, now onto the decoration. The decoration is bad just to be bad. There's not a single part in this level that looks visually appealing. I regret to inform that this level does get some originality points. The first time playing through this level, some of the jokes are alright, and I guess having a shit level for the sake of having a shit level is moderately original. The sync exists with those lyrics and certain other things syncing, so I'm forced to give it points here. If you really want to try this level because of the last wave, it's the hardest 5-star, so if you really want to put yourself through this, the idea is... So this is the next Krmal level, and I will preemptively say this level is great. The first section of this level starts off with spikes jumps as usual. This part's decoration is okay for the time, but it gets better. This city looks pretty good and has some mildly fun timing gameplay. Apart from that though, something I haven't mentioned so far is sync. To notice the sync, pay attention to these spikes. And now the windows. The sync carries on into this part. This starts the second phase of the level and it looks very good for a mid 2.0 level. This level still syncs up extremely well, and while I can see people not appreciating the straight fly, the gameplay manages to be more entertaining than most Krmal levels. Not sure if that's saying a lot. This next part is mostly played for sync. I would take points off for decoration, but clearly the point of this part is to have obscured gameplay, so I'll let it slide. The gameplay isn't too frustrating, and after that you have your normal dose of crazy spam. This moves on to the next part, which is similar to the drop and keeps up with the sync, decoration, and tolerable gameplay. I especially like the new rain effect that's added and makes you feel like you're literally right in the middle of a bunch of storm clouds. And then finally, this part looks amazing, and it is clearly what Krmal put the most effort into. At the time, this was a very unique use of rainbow blocks. The sunlight with the cloud effect looks amazing, however, behind this good looking facade lies the worst gameplay in the level by far. I'm not sure if it's a 144Hz bug or something, but even with 60Hz, nothing about this part looks fun, and it is very inconsistent. At least this part maintains the sync. After this part, the level ends off, so I'll just leave a little thought in your head. If you think about it, this level influenced Hinkik's popularity inside of Geometry Dash, and perhaps without this level, the upcoming 2.2 level explorers might have used a different song. I don't know, just an interesting thought. Besides that, the gameplay in this level is very original, whether that be to its advantage or disadvantage. While the decorations and settings used in this level have been done before, this level does it in different ways and brings these concepts to new heights. But I guess I should talk about one last thing. The story of this level. What, you never noticed there was one? I don't blame you. Only the highest of IQs recognize it. Anyways, let's get to the analysis. So, you're in a dream full of triple spikes for some reason. I guess life is fine. Then you wake up. Life is not fine. Enter the city. You then go to your dead-end night shift office job. Shit, you got fired. Well, at least 2.1 is coming soon. You don't know what path you'll take in life. The path ahead isn't clear. Then you black out. Suddenly you feel like you're falling up. Then you black out again. You can feel yourself barely clinging to reality, only seeing what's in front of you. Then suddenly, you're in the clouds, flying through reality, and then finally, this final part represents the peak of your brain's DMT overflow. Your life's memories are flashing all at the same time, and then you black out again. I think this level is an amazingly accurate allusion to the opioid crisis sweeping through the industrialized capitalism-based world that we members of the corrupt society live in. When most people are unemployed, they feel a lack of purpose, and this addicting lifestyle can take them over. Overall, Krmal is a subtle genius, and you have to be inspired by how well he could tell a story in $2 block game. This level is called High, and it starts like many other Krmal levels. Little decoration while jumping over spikes. Then the gameplay starts to get a little bit more diverse. It consists of somewhat entertaining timings and memories. While the decoration is slightly appealing and while the gameplay has alright sync, what's more notable is how well the background pulses sync with the song. Next, we have this dark part similar to Falling Up, which relies entirely on sync. However, at this point this isn't the most original gimmick. The next half of the level takes place mostly in this orange drop part. This gameplay largely consists of annoying timings, but parts of the gameplay sync up very well to the song. Most of the backgrounds during this part look good for their time, but not extremely impressive. I would say my favorite background is from this UFO part. One thing to mention is that the block design throughout the entirety of this level is really basic, usually only consisting of 1 or 2 blocks. After this annoying robot, the level ends off with by far my least favorite part. Not only does the ship part have no detail, block design, or backgrounds, but it also has annoying gameplay. Sure, the portal flips sync with the song playing in the background, but you're not going to care about that while dying at 98. This level has an original song backed with original gameplay and decoration. This is also still a pretty original gimmick, so this level gets some points in that front. I guess when I'll beat this level, I'll be glad to say bye. So, this next level is interesting. Remember
Pokemon Go!
Well, this is based off the team that I chose when I played the game, Team Valor. So it's a collab between a bunch of American creators, and as you might have guessed, Krmal is one of these creators, and he was chosen to make a part in this level and verify it to post it on his account. This level clearly has a joke atmosphere, but I guess now is my time to criticize it. I will establish that this level is pretty bad for when it came out. Everything feels like it was made in early 2.0. There's many primitive uses of move triggers in the map which make the gameplay annoying. Krmal's part is annoying to play through, but the transition between his part and the next part is horrible. While Mega Man and Dysfunctional have fun parts, most other parts are either average or below average in terms of entertainment. The decoration has massive changes and it never looks too good, most of it being outdated by the time this level came out. The sync is mostly somewhat normal, with Mosertron, Pizza Fire, and obviously Krmal having slightly above average sync in their parts. Some other creators also use backgrounds to pulse to the beat, giving this level a decent sync score. Its massive mix of styles and weird gameplay give it some points in originality. Overall, it's an outdated and weird level to have on Krmal's account, but apparently people like this level more than its sequel Mystic, so I'll give it that. Meanwhile, in Mystic. The next level is a weird case. It all started when a player released a level called Elite Z in 1.8. It was considered impossible until Krmal beat the level himself. After this, similarly to levels like Red World Rebirth, with the help of Airswipe, Krmal would redecorate this level. I call it a weird case because it's the only bad non-joke level made in Krmal's account. I'll explain why. Let's just say that before taking inspiration from a level's gameplay, you should make sure that the level's gameplay is good. The gameplay in this level contains, let's see, fun spaced out triple spikes, fun straight fly, fun memory parts in which mostly everything is completely invisible, a mediocre UFO part, and then a 2-player straight fly ship section, another memory part thrown in to frustrate the player, a second fun memory part, some ball timings, then a third fun memory part, more straight fly, mediocre ship section, UFO spam, and then more triple spikes. There's not a single fun section in this level, and I believe the gameplay score is deserved. For most of the level, the gameplay does the absolute minimum necessary to stay in sync with the music, which would normally be enough to get a 5, but there's even some parts in the level that don't sync with the music at all. While Airswipe did a great job on Heartbeat, I can't say the same for Elite Z Rebirth. Most parts of this level are far under the bar for a late 2.0 level. While the old style is slightly visually appealing at first, it really isn't good decoration at its core, and even if that was passable, there's so many parts that are lacking in any type of deco, most notably the cube mazes and everything after the ship part ends. I'll give some credit to this cool blur effect in this entire part of the level. As for originality, nothing about this level was original. The level had fully copied all of its gameplay. Theory of everything has been used to death, and really the only argument you can make is that while the decoration isn't up to par, it's definitely weird compared to many other 2.0 levels in existence. Overall, I'd say the only thing that went wrong here was Krmal choosing the wrong source material after his verification of this old, obscure level. The next level we will be talking about is MANIX. While the second version of this level is amazing, we have to review the first version of this level, which is on Krmal's account. What's the difference, you may ask? Well, all the gameplay is invisible. Isn't that just great? I know, it's probably fun once you memorize it, but that just seems like a painful process. And I'll give the same gameplay score that I gave Invisible Deadlocked. Like Invisible Deadlocked, this level is good sync, however, this is not all. Unlike Invisible Deadlocked, this level has amazing effects. There isn't a single part in decoration which I don't like apart from the parody part on Conical Depression. This part could be better, but every other effect part is amazing. Of course, with decoration in traditional levels, block design can be a core part of enhancing how your levels look, but in this case, of course, no block design exists. In terms of originality, this level gets points for unique song, unique effects, and the unique dose of unique gameplay. Overall, the Manix version is far better, but as this is a creator review of Krmal, we won't be able to get to that level yet. Throughout the transition between Update 2.0 and Update 2.1, a new level had been brewing and gathering hype in the community. This level was Black Blizzard, and even though it had gone through a fair share of controversies like the nerfs and the massive level leaking incident, it came out as Krmal's hardest level to date, and perhaps that is this level's biggest weakness. Most of this level was built in late 2.0, so I'll be judging it off of those terms. The first icon part is as usual very simple, extremely basic block designs with this snowy effect. If you've been paying attention to this video, you might be able to guess what the other two stats are. That's right, bad gameplay and good sync. The gameplay has some really annoying timings that are too strict to be enjoyable. Moving into the next part, it's my least favorite in terms of gameplay, however the levels start having better design, with cool things like this target and the constantly shifting background. Shout out to this title. Then we get to my favorite part of the level, the drop. Not only does it have somewhat passable gameplay, but it also has this extremely cool tornado effect in the background. This is impressive whether it was made in early 2.1 or late 2.0. One unique touch of the level is that all the portals are colored black. Then we get into this really confusing duel. I really like the effect in background, but in terms of gameplay, it looks like it could be fun if you learned it, but if not, it just stands as an extremely confusing part of the level. After this, we get the final part, and it's by far the most easy and enjoyable part of the level, which still has a decent background. Throughout this entire level, the sync is really good with orb timings, portal switches, and other things matching up really well with the song. This is a good segue into originality, where I will say that this is a completely different song and music artist from what we had ever seen before in Geometry Dash. Through this level, Krmal had introduced us a second music artist that would become a mainstay in many Geometry Dash levels. As usual, the gameplay has the original Krmal style, and the decoration, theming, and setting of this level puts it in a very unique position. This is very close to being Krmal's best level had it not been for the gameplay. And no, I'm not just bad. Look at some other people playing Black Blizzard. Ah yes, this is Hungry Humphrey and it's a joke level. Unlike Don't Rate This Level, I believe this level actually deserved to be rated. Let me elaborate. The first notable part is the introduction to Humphrey, and the gameplay isn't horrible, it's just extremely boring, which I guess makes it bad. Also, his mouth syncs with what he says. What should I eat? I eat the level now. When he eats the level, it syncs, which is cool. The decoration in terms of block design and background is non-existent, and all you really have to do is be marveled by Hungry Humphrey's kawaii face. After this is another part with Humphrey eating saw blades. This part is mostly easy with two annoying saws. Just like how when Humphrey was eating the level, Humphrey eating saws also syncs to the music. The background still isn't much to look at, and after that is this part. The dancing animation for this part is great, and something about like the combination of colors and the weirdness of this part just fits with this part of the song so well. The decoration with the background and the colors, colorful rainbow shit. That's good, that looks good. After that is this part. Wow, what a precisely decorated large intestine, or whatever that is. After looking at this level is extremely original apart from the uninspired gameplay, but with all the other stuff in the level, I don't have too much gripes with it. As a whole, Hungry Humphrey is a second feat of storytelling by Krmal. It is truly able to show the duality of man and the sin of gluttony in a way that I had never seen showcased. At the start of everything, we see Humphrey as our only friend in this treacherous level, eating most of the things that get in our way. But then, as you get closer and closer to him, he finally snaps and eats you. This is truly one of the worst betrayals ever documented in human history, and it is an amazing allegory for what happens in real-life instances with chimps. Many chimps fighting to death over a single can of beans. These chimps learning how to use sticks to create wooden swords. The truth is, in a world where we represent humans, and Humphrey represents starving humans, you can truly see where the real message of this level lies. Humphrey is humanity, and humanity is chimps. But that's just a theory. A Geometry Dash theory. Thanks for Hungry Humphrey's identity only comes from what and who he isn't. Without a wider frame of reference, he is nothing. He is not his own man. In a world where our identities are shaped by our warped relationships to brand and commerce, we are all Humphrey. So after this level, Krmal's creating career would seemingly go dormant for over 2 years. However, in January of 2020, he finally released this level. It's called EXO and it's a 1.0 styled level. The first part has very basic decoration which pulls us to the music well. Then there's the gameplay. This is by far Krmal's hardest level so far, so I will be mixing my experiences with Technical's experience after beating it. The first 18% is somewhat annoying, but is still really satisfying to complete. In this slight drop part, the gameplay is more fun. These sequences are also satisfying to complete. The horrible transition into the dual ship makes this one of my least favorite parts of the level. Anyways, the next part is the biggest problem of this level. While Krmal says he tried his hardest to sync it, more than half the players who I've seen beat this level have criticized the sync of this part, saying that even if they click exactly how the beat tells them to, the level will still kill them. A part with timing this precise is really annoying and brings the gameplay down. The thing that sucks is that this part is repeated, and this time it's at the very end of the level, making deaths due to weird sync and specific timings even more frustrating. The ending is just a mess of objects, but hold up, it's rewind time. Alright, so this part is sort of like the first part, but the timings are a lot more forgiving. It's a little bit more entertaining due to that. While the gameplay still syncs up well to the music, most of the objects still don't pull us to this part of the song. One thing I should mention is the rumor that as this level goes on, the more you concentrate, the more X's and O's you notice. After that, we are greeted with a chill icon part that is a refreshing break from the rest of the level. This is probably the only part of the level that I can beat. This drop contains the only real effect and I really like it. The gameplay is still pretty difficult, but this is one of the most entertaining parts of the level. Overall, one thing I've noticed about EXO is how it proves that even after several years, Krmal is still able to create extremely unique gameplay sequences no matter how bad they are. Just like the rest of the level, this part syncs up very well. Anyways, then we get to the aforementioned second orb timing, which then brings the gameplay score down, and then finally the level ends with a messy mass of disheveled objects. We've reached the end of the road. The final level is an April Fool's level that was in waiting for over 3 years. Krmal says it was made while he was building Conical Depression. This is the buffed remake of High Life, Mega Ward's 9-star level. It goes by the name of Low Death, and Krmal had joked about killing this level several times due to community pressure. However, here it is. This level is extremely outdated, mostly because High Life was primarily made in late 1.9 and early 2.0, so the decoration is pretty terrible. Since it essentially adds more spikes and orbs in many places, if anything it looks worse than the original High Life. The part based in Update 1.9 has overall horrible gameplay, mediocre design, but the sync score is saved with things like these spike timings and this drop part. Everything syncs here as we transition into Update 2.0. When the level switches, it initiates the second half of the level, which is easily my favorite part. Apart from this memory part and this ball part, the gameplay is actually pretty fun. The segments are a blast to play through. For the most part, while the decoration is questionable, it's got that early 2.0 garbage charm to it. It's hard to explain. This boss fight is pretty interesting, and it's living proof that this level has become a trash pit of its former self. Anyways, after this icon part, we get a friendly reminder to remind us to not die. After this is this extremely fun ship part with overly scaled saws. E. The level finishes off with the second drop referencing to the first drop. It's a nice touch, but it's a lot of pressure. While the last gravity ball part is somewhat easy with only one real timing you have to worry about. Overall, this level is heavily peppered with jokes, and it's a great level to end off on. So, now that I'm done reviewing Krmal's 17 rated levels, it's time for the creator summary. Krmal's a weird case because some may argue that I shouldn't mix in the joke and effortless levels with the normal levels. So, here are two separate creator summaries. Here's the full creator summary. And here's the summary without considering joke levels, effortless levels, and levels that Krmal has either no or barely any involvement in. The gameplay barely improved because this is Krmal we're talking about. The decoration, sync, and originality improved significantly. The decoration can definitely be beat, but the sync score and originality score are nearly unbeatable, although I guess I am choosing a select pool of levels. Talking about levels, here are all of Krmal's levels from best to worst. If there was a tie in the score, I broke the tie. Overall, I know that Krmal is the most popular creator to review, however I thought it'd be a good starting point for the series to start on. If you want to choose which creator I review next, leave them in the comments. You could also leave what you would have personally rated Krmal's levels in the comments. Literally put anything in the comments. So, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.